Hello, hello. Let me double check that it's working. There were some weird issues. Okay, it looks like we are okay and hopefully everything's working. Okay, it seems like it's working. I'll believe it. I hope everybody had a fantastic weekend and is looking forward to a fantastic week of practicing this week. For this week, what I wanted to talk about is something that I think is pretty straightforward and kind of obvious and definitely easier said than done, but I think is a very important thing to be remembering and to be coming back to and making sure that it's kind of top of mind for you really at all times. And it's the idea of kind of how versus what. And this has to do with what you're actually practicing and what you're doing in the practice room, where you can do the right exercises. You can do a 3-step warm-up like your teacher tells you to do. You can be doing your long tones, you can be doing your scales, you can be getting your reps in on your practice, and you can have the what nailed and dialed in and doing exactly what would be best for you to be doing at every moment. But if the how of how you're doing that isn't correct, then you aren't going to be getting much value out of it. And that, I think, is so super, super important to remember. But then that brings up the question, this is the easier said than done part, is first of all, even knowing what to do can sometimes be a little challenging and a little bit overwhelming. And then knowing how to do that the most effective and most correct way is also a challenge and something that you have to figure out. So the question then becomes, well, how do I know what I should be doing, and how do I know how I should be doing on the thing that I should be doing? That's where I think deliberate practice really comes in and is really powerful. Deliberate practice is the plan, do, reflect cycle, and that reflection stage of it, I think, is what is so super key. If you just do something and you go through it, you're not going to get a ton of value out of it, just going through the motions on it, figuring out, okay, I did it, now how can I make it better? What do I need to change? What should I focus on? That little bit of reflection will make sure that you're doing the how part correctly, and how you're doing the exercises will actually be valuable and beneficial to you. The other side of that to be careful of, or that will develop from that, is as you reflect on that and you know how you need to be doing it and what to do differently, that will also clarify the what of what you should be doing. Let me give an example of that. So if you're playing something and you do it and you notice this and this and this and this issue with it while you're reflecting with it, and then as you're reflecting on that, you reflect deeply enough to get to the root of the issue, and you start thinking, okay, the sound isn't good here. I'm getting a airy sound on these notes. Okay, why am I getting an airy sound on these notes? Okay, maybe I need more air support or stronger connection of the air between the notes or something like that. And you start getting down to the root of the issue. Then you can see from that root of the issue, maybe it would be beneficial for me to do something like this in my warm-ups, or create a simplified warm-up exercise out of this, or some kind of long tone exercise out of it, or something like that. And then you're starting to extract what you need. So it's kind of this cyclical thing of growing and making progress and getting more value out of all of it, where you reflect to figure out how you need to do it to get more out of it. And then as you understand how you need to do it to get more out of it, you can start thinking about what you should be doing more of to actually make it happen. And I think so often the way we approach our practice is we start with what, and then maybe think about how. Maybe. A lot of times when we're having really unproductive practice and kind of falling into the pointless practice trap, we look at the what of, I have these 10, 20 pieces that I need to learn. That's what I need to practice. Okay, I'm going to get in there and I'm going to practice it. And as we're going, we never stop and consider, how should I be practicing this? Should I be breaking it down in different sections? even if you are breaking it down into different sections, how are you working on those sections to make sure it's as valuable as possible? Usually we're just thinking, okay, I need to do these pieces, I need to do these sections, this is the hard part, that's what I'm working on, and then we just bang our head against the wall working on it, rather than reflecting and figuring out how to do it the most effective way possible. And that's the whole point of this, is that's so effective, and we should flip it on its head. Instead of thinking, this is what I need to do, now how am I going to do this? Think, how am I going to achieve what I need to achieve? And then the what should become self-evident out of that. And it all hinges on the reflection part of deliberate practice, making sure that you are reflecting on how things are going and what you want to accomplish. So hopefully that gives you some food for thought for this week, and you can put that into your plan. You can go to quickstartclarinet.com/get started to download this exact practice template, or you can just fill it out for yourself. But this is the most important part of the Live Monday Music Motivation, is that you fill out your practice template. So here's what mine looks like: date for the week, reflection of how things are going, goal for what you want to accomplish, and then your plan for when you're going to make that happen. So just making sure that you're getting organized. This is kind of the what, but maybe this week experiment with approaching it from more of a how standpoint. So instead of saying, like, for me, I said what I need to work on is kind of finding a good sound and exploring sound a little bit. Maybe instead of that being my what of exploring the sound, maybe I should focus more on the how side of, I'm going to do some long tones and warm-ups on some different reeds and see how the reeds are affecting the sound, that kind of thing. Or I kind of already naturally did it by saying, okay, I want to focus on sound and explore my sound a little bit and work on getting a better sound that's easier to play in tune and more rich and projecting and that kind of stuff. So that's the what. How I'm going to do that is by actually thinking about that in my practice and actually exploring with reeds some as well. So that's the motivation for you this week. Don't forget to fill out your practice. I see Randy commented, "Are you a fly on my wall?" Yes, I am. I'm always watching. No, I'm just kidding. But it's a common thing that so many people go through. I've certainly am literally struggling with it right now. So that's great that it's resonating though. So fill out your practice template, and then once you fill that out, put it in your calendar, put it in your planner, commit to those practice times that you wrote down so that you can make it happen and have a great week of practice. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and I hope everybody has a fantastic week and starts thinking about how you're doing things so you can always get the most benefit out of all of the what's that you need to accomplish. Have a great week, everybody. Happy practicing, and I'll see you next week on the next Live Monday Music Motivation.